Jennifer asks, how do you create your ideal client avatar? I'm working on creating my ideal client avatar, and I want to do some one-on-one client interviews with people who are most likely my ideal client. Do you have any tips for making the most out of these interviews? In other words, how do you create your ideal client avatar? It's a big question, and it's one that you can approach from multiple different angles. But one of the greatest opportunities to better understand who your avatar is to actually get on the phone with them and talk to them. I do this in every single new market that I enter, and anytime that we launch a new program. I want to actually sit down and talk with my ideal client so I can clearly see them in my mind's eye. I know exactly how they speak and how they sound. I can see what their home looks like, what books they're reading, what furniture they have in their living room. I want to know what their specific needs, wants, and desires are, what their biggest pain points and obstacles are. And I want to know it in such vivid detail that I can hear their voice inside my head when I'm writing copy, and I can see them staring back at me when I'm recording a video online. And the best way to do that is actually not through a survey, which is a great first step to understand your market as a whole, but instead to engage in a personal one-on-one interview. Now, as they say in life, the answers are easy, it's the questions that are hard. So what I want to do here is give you a few tips for making the most out of those interviews to help you ask better questions. And tip number one has to do with context. One of the most powerful opportunities to get more context around a person's situation is asking questions around the situation that they're in their life that led them to search for help in that area. So if you followed the ask method for any length of time and you started with your deep dive survey, going back to your DDS, as we call it, you can begin by asking, hey, when you were looking for help with X being the thing that you help people with, whether it's losing weight or caring for your orchids, can you tell me what was it that was going on in your life that day? What you're trying to figure out here is, did this person see something on television that prompted them to search for help? Were they having a conversation with a friend? What was the impetus? What was the spark that lit their light to go and search online for help and find a solution to the thing that they're looking to solve? And that takes us to tip number two, which is what I call tell me more. You see, when you get on the phone with someone and you're having a one-on-one interview with your potential ideal client, you really want to go deeper in this conversation. And one of my favorite questions is to simply ask, can you tell me more about that? You see, when you're truly curious, truly fascinated about someone, people absolutely crave being listened to. They crave being heard. You want your ideal client to pour their heart out to you, going beyond just the simple surface answers that they might give in a survey. And you can follow the same path over and over again. Every single time they hit on a point that's interesting to you, that sparks your curiosity. Now, a tip that I'll give you is whenever I have one of these conversations, I'll actually write down in my notebook or on a Post-it, shut up, Ryan, and let them talk. And this is what you want to do. You want to let them do as much of the talking as possible. And that takes me to tip number three, what I call the magic wand question. The question sounds like this. If you could wave a magic wand and wake up to the absolute perfect solution to your problem, what might that look like? See, what you're doing here is you're letting the other person, your ideal client, temporarily suspend reality and share with you what that perfect solution might look like. And while it's true that people don't know what they want, they only know what they don't want, this question can often spark inspiration and ideas in your own mind around what the perfect solution might look like for your perfect client. And that takes us to tip number 4, using the word might. If you noticed in the previous sentence, I used the word might. I said, if you could wave a magic wand and wake up to the absolute perfect solution to your problem, what might that look like? Now, the reason for using the word might as something that I learned from my mentor, Dr. Glenn Livingston and Dr. Sharon Livingston, is that might unlocks people from thinking that there's a right answer to your question. It allows them to explore elements of creativity that they might not know that are there and give you ideas for what possible solutions you might create for that ideal client. So there you have it. Those are 4 tips for better understanding your ideal client avatar at a deep level when you do one-on-one interviews so you can better sell and better serve.